Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. And today, like every single weekday, coming at you live from our studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. Lots to talk about today. PayPal joins with Coinbase to bring crypto adoption to Europe. We're also discussing Binance. We're also discussing Chainlink and a big integration with Swift. What are they planning on doing? We also have special guest Seth from Mind Your Biz joining us in T-minus 10 minutes. But first, here's your other co-host, Rob.
Hola! Hola! Double hola, huh?
Wow.
Welcome to Sin City Crypto. It's your boy, Big Rob. Big Rob. Back in the house. How y'all doing?
What? We just lost all our viewers?
Yeah. So welcome to Sin City Crypto, guys. If this is your first time checking us out, we are the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. Other channels claim, but we deliver. We take that old, boring, and stale information, and well, it comes in a fun and sexy way.
No,
Now,
Bitcoin is not over 30K.
is it under 25K?
No. But it did lose all its gains from the grayscale. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'd like to give a shout out to channel sponsor Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business scale in IT networking and cybersecurity so you can focus on making money for your business, visit bluewiretech.com or simply click the link in the description of this video. Now, speaking of videos, Robin.
Yes.
You're a big animal guy. You got a bird, a cat, a dog, a platypus, from what I hear. I don't know where I'm going with this, but here we have a bull riding shotgun.
Responded to a call of a man driving eastbound on 275 with a Watusi bull in his passenger seat.
Literally cut his car in half. Look at that. Cut the car in half so he can put his bull to ride shotgun with him.
Received a call reference.
Like, this is something you would do, Robin. If you had a pet bull, like a pet horse, and it says lice.
Like a cat,
I'm just curious on when he decides to poop.
Oh,
yeah.
Never mind. Answers
Oh
my
my
question.
God. I didn't even know that was there.
with that, traffic violations that
E. Meyer of Norfolk
Oh,
Police.
there you go. So,
Was he wearing a UNLV hat?
was he?
He was immediately pulled
Hold on a
over by
second.
Norfolk Police, and they performed a routine traffic stop. The vehicle was identified as Lee Meyer of Neely.
No,
Oh, Dana
no.
College.
Watusi
That did look like a
bull's name
UNLV
was
hat, though.
Howdy Doody.
Yeah.
situation, the officer chose to write him.
Also, speaking of animals, shout out to my ninja said Messi is the GOAT. Yes, he is the GOAT. Messi is definitely the GOAT, and my volume is down. Big shout out to you, my ninja. All right.
David's mic's. Oh, it's all the way down. Just move the level up. There you go.
Hello. Can you hear me? Guys, they're conspiring against me, Robin and Rocco. They don't want me to speak. Anyways, what I'm saying in the video, taking shotgunning to the next level. Here we have a easy way to get rid of the police. If you're in a high car speed chase, which I don't recommend.
High car speed chase.
High speed chase with a police officer.
You said high car.
I know.
Speed
I said, my
chase.
bad. High speed car chase with a police. There is one way to quickly get rid of the police. And All right, peace. Just find a tow truck and then do that. Here we have Robin. Is the dog A, sitting, B, standing, or C, laying? This is where you answer the question.
No, I'm confused. I would say sitting.
Sitting, okay.
Yes.
Why not standing? Because all four legs are on something.
Well, like, here's the thing. I sit down, my butt's down, and then I might lean on the table. Kind of what he's doing, right? Sitting down, leaning on the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Chat, what do you think? A, B, or C? Sitting, standing, laying. I say he's laying. I think he's laying. Rocco, what do you think? Is he laying or sitting?
I don't know. I think this is
This is an
Looking out.
Italian dog, by the way. So
sure.
Just a
Well,
heads
what
up.
makes him Italian?
I just figured Rocco could relate to that.
I can't relate. Based it on what?
Okay. And then we have a visual representation of how everyone was feeling yesterday as Grayscale shut down the SEC. And here we go, walking into crypto markets. We're all celebrating, guys. It's not over yet, guys. We still have a little ways to go. So tomorrow we're going to get, we're most likely, in my opinion, going to get delay on all the ones that are coming up. And then October 17th and 16th, I believe that is a big day. That leads us up to the appeal. So the 45 days would have passed for the appeal. We'll get a clearer vision of what the SEC plans on doing. Are they going to pull the futures? Are they going to appeal to get the, I forget what was it, ad hoc appeal or something?
I'd like to appeal to our viewers to hit that like button. We only have 49 likes and 110 viewers. That means we have an astonishing below 50%. I don't know the number, but it ain't good.
Guys, please.
Also, if you are new here, say hello so we can drop that hola back at you. We do got Mojo, Johnny Two Pockets, BC Alpha, or Alf, and Mr. Zack Attack. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Mr. Zack Attack.
And also Andre Brown up in here as well.
Andre, what's up, mate? Oh, Robin, also, my friend Diamond Hands Daryl really wanted a shout out today from you. Can you help my friend? He said it in the chat before we went live. He said, I better get a shout out today. So
More
men of
Diamond
the-
Hands, hola!
We're men of the people,
There you go.
and we love the people. Speaking of love, this is not love. So this is from Wall Street Silver. Delinquencies are going higher. More Americans are falling behind on their car loan and credit card payments than in any time in more than a decade, a troubling signal of consumer stress as higher prices and rising borrowing costs are squeezing household budgets. The pain is most acute for lower income earners who have largely used whatever they managed to save during the pandemic with the help of the government stimulus checks and breaks on obligations such as rent and student loans. And here, guys, we have the visual representation. Everything is looking up and to the right. It says delinquencies from 06 to 2023. And they're labeled here. Orange, you have consumer loans, yellow, credit card loans, and green, car loans. And everything is going up. We are at the highest levels we have seen since coming down from this peak of the Great Recession. And then we don't even add student loans in there. Rob, looking at this chart and trying to maybe extrapolate on how this is going to cause effects ultimately leading into the crypto markets, what are your thoughts, and do you have a thesis on all of this?
Man,
Is the job market being so tight and people still being able to have multiple jobs help the situation?
here's the thing. Have we had a recessionary period off of debt from consumers? I mean, I know, no, I don't think we have, right? We had the housing. Now, a lot of times debt follows more of the macro environment. So when you have people getting laid off, you have the housing crisis, also consumer debt defaulted there as well. It wasn't the cause, but it's kind of been in tandem. But I mean, what's to say that banks, that so many people default on personal debt? Maybe we throw the car market in there because remember the used car market was extremely tight as far as with supply, which shot up the prices of cars. New cars have went up as well. And so at some point, you might have to make a choice. Like, hey, do I pay my house or my car?
Right.
And then
We can agree credit card is probably going to come last, right? People are more likely to say, okay, I can't pay my credit card debt, whatever. Go to collections or I'll consolidate
that'll
my
go
debt.
first. That'll be the first thing people stop paying. Then it'll be their car. But the thing is with a car, you might miss a payment and be like, oh, I'll make an extra payment next time. And then you never get enough money for that.
Right.
That's kind of how you get into those. So it's not like people are like, you know what? I don't need the car anymore. You know, they just get behind and can't ever catch up. Yeah. I think that's more or less what that graph you had is speaking on, is the fact that people are getting behind, and if they miss a payment, they might not. You know, at one point in time in my past, when I couldn't make a house payment, for example, I was like, oh, I'll just double payment next time. And then I got back behind 3 payments, and then I just tried to make 1 payment to catch up. They're like, nah, you got to pay in full or we're going to repossess.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I don't have full. Like, what? Sorry. And then I'm just like.
People are going to be faced with decisions, and it sucks. It is what it is, right? I look at liquidity. If liquidity and all the discretionary income people have is being sucked away from their investments and being put to necessities like a mortgage, or paying off their debt or their car, even groceries. That is what I'm looking at, and that is why I think it's so important for the spot ETF. It's going to just bring a whole new branch of potential liquidity. Then you throw retail in there, because we know the government's going to start printing money at some point.
Yes.
We know they are. They've added $1.3 trillion since June to their debt, to the government debt, right? And what's to say they're not going to continue to add more? There is currently no debt ceiling until 2025. We know election year's coming up. So, sucks, but it's something that's out of our control. And guys, that is why we invest in Bitcoin. That is why we invest in crypto, to hedge ourselves against the debasement of our currency, if you're living here in the US or even globally, right? And to hedge against stupid people in government trying to make financial decisions that makes absolutely zero sense. I also have this. This is from Jesse Dow at Micro to Macro. This is a really good Twitter handle, guys. I'll definitely go recommend following him. He put out some great stuff. Personal income came in slightly lower than expected. This means reduced chance of wage inflation, which is positive, and you can see here this chart. Then I have this from Mark Yusko. So this is a chart here that he retweeted. First 2.5% of adopters, right? The innovators. Then we have the early adopters, early majority, late majority, and then the last people that tend to come in. Says we are currently in early adopters, which is where we are right now. We are about to get, as we move into spot ETF and institutions, we're going to get into early majority. And then, you want to be in crypto and Bitcoin before this thing's, before the hill starts tilting down. What are your thoughts on this, Rob? Do you agree with Mark? Do you agree with this chart? That's kind of where we are right now, early adopters.
Yeah, I mean,
because we're obviously not majority.
You still go out in public. You go out of the crypto circles here. You go out in public, and well, hey, people just aren't talking about Bitcoin, especially if you bring it up. 95% of the time, anybody that you're not personally friends with, and you just discuss Bitcoin, they usually look at y'all sideways, start talking about scams, FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried. What is the price now? I missed the boat. Nobody, I don't want to say nobody, but majority of the people just simply have zero to no exposure to Bitcoin or crypto in general. Maybe they've bought some during the heights of some bull market, but nobody's really participating in the crypto networks. And for that reason, I would agree we are still in the early adoption phase because, hey, the people I'm talking to on the streets, not adopting.
Feels good, man. Feels good to be somewhere in a space is going to blow up, and to be the first ones there feels really good. You know what else feels good? Having our friend Mind Your Biz come join our show. Rocco, let's patch him in. My brother, how you doing, bro?
I am doing well. Let me get centered up here. I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me on to Sin City Crypto.
Man, how do you just look younger and younger every time we bring you on? What do you putting any? You got a skin regimen going on? What's going on?
No big secret. It's adrenochrome, right? I mean, you can get that at the corner pharmacy. That's what I've heard. At least in Las Vegas, man. And I've heard that you guys have the hookup.
You leave Vegas out of this, okay? Thank you so much for coming on, man. If you don't know Mind Your Biz, I don't know where the hell you've been. We always love having you on the show, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to keep the content moving. I brought you in because I want to get your take on a couple things here as well. I do want to share this so yesterday we had a few things happen. Obviously, the day before we had Grayscale, then we saw the fallout from that. Which, by the way, real quick, Seth, let me ask you a question. Do you see any negatives to a spot ETF? And are you more bullish or bearish on a spot ETF coming to market?
Yeah, I see only maybe one potential negative with the spot ETF, and that is just user behavior when it comes to blockchain technology. People not taking accountability for their keys and their own coins, and then having that ultimately have a trickle down effect, or I guess rather a feedback loop that's negative for the security of the Bitcoin blockchain and ecosystem because fewer fees are on chain, which means fewer fees are being paid to the mining network. That's going to be a problem, not immediately. Frankly, it'll be a problem, David, probably in another like 80 to 100 years if Bitcoin continues in its current form. It might have to adapt over that time. But that's the only possible negative, and it's very hypothetical, as you can tell in the way I laid it out. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, so we also had a class action lawsuit against Uniswap, right? And the judge came down yesterday and said they're a decentralized entity. They can't know who is buying, who is selling, and they essentially exonerated them. Well, something interesting someone found from that decision was this. This was tweeted from Bill Hughes, D.C. The Southern District of New York, which is Judge Faia, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, also explicitly found in its August 29 decision that Ethereum is a commodity, not a security. Subtle, but it's in there. You know, it mentions here, as you can find, while no court has yet decided this issue in the context of a decentralized protocol smart contracts, the court finds that the smart contracts here were themselves able to be carried out lawfully, as with the exchange of crypto commodities, ETH and Bitcoin. So, I guess I'll ask you, Seth. What are your thoughts on that? Is this a big deal, or is this kind of a nothing burger for you?
This actually is a big deal, but at the same time, we've heard similar language from the SEC years ago, where there were unofficial opinions given related to Ethereum's status as a security, right? And being deemed at least not a security, not necessarily outright being deemed a commodity, but at least being classified or considered not a security. And that's kind of shifted over the years, especially since Gary Gensler has been, installed with the SEC, that there's been some doubt expressed by him as to whether or not Ethereum should be considered a security because of, more recent architectural changes towards proof of stake and people expecting profit from staking to a validator node and some of the other intricacies of these really complex systems, these really complex blockchains. Ethereum has become more complex since he's been in office. So there was that one doubt there. But so on the one hand, like, yeah, this is really good. I'm really excited about this, and I think it's net bullish. But on the other hand, yeah, there is kind of like, I don't know, 20% of this news that's a nothing burger, David, because it's kind of like, yeah, we already kind of presumed that it wasn't a security and that it really should be a commodity, like most blockchain tokens or like most blockchain utility tokens that run the gas fee systems or the transaction fee systems. They really shouldn't be viewed as a security. You don't view you don't view toll roads as a security. Not that they're viewed as a commodity either. They're public good. It's weird.
Infrastructure.
But you know what I mean? Yeah, it's infrastructure. It's infrastructure. So it would be more broadly considered a commodity.
I think
I want to just interject here. It was when the SEC did, I think it was Dan Dan from the SEC. I don't remember his last name, but
Dan from the SEC.
anyways, he was the one that kind of famously came out and said that Ethereum is a commodity, and in doing so, the times are different, and it shared the consensus mechanism, or did the proof of work mining the same way as Bitcoin. So now the times have really changed, and maybe that's why Gary Gensler has been hesitant. I think he's just hesitant on the whole crypto market, but
I think he's just a piece of crap.
Yeah.
That just wants the power.
That as well. But
I'm glad you said that.
I don't know. I mean,
so I don't have to.
Yeah.
Maybe it's been taken out of consideration from the SEC's current administration for the simple fact that it is now a proof of stake. And, it's...
Yeah, but Robin, here's the thing. Ethereum has had proof of stake on the roadmap since the ICO. It didn't. This is not a recent invention. This is not something that the Ethereum core developers just woke up one day and they're like, what would be really, really hip and groovy and kind of a Gen Z thing to do? Let's make it proof of stake. Like, bro,
You
if
never
you
know with
got
these
in on the ICO, you've
Vitalik,
been
bro.
anticipating this for years. Yeah.
All jokes aside, that is very true. You bring up a valid point.
There wasn't anybody in the head of state departments that were reading the white paper, though. So I think they're just like, oh, proof of work?
I
Yeah, that's
disagree.
like Bitcoin. It's a commodity. And now
I disagree.
I don't know. I think
Yeah,
it's
I
more of
disagree.
an attack on crypto, and I think it's gross negligence for the benefit of the SEC
So
financially to put the brakes on crypto adoption, particularly in having it trade on the stock exchange. But
So if I'm understanding correctly, Rob's argument is, sure, they might have had proof of stake in their original plan, but no one was diving that deep to say, okay, hey, we read their white paper, they're going to move the proof of stake, and you're disagreeing, Seth?
Yeah, I am disagreeing. I mean, and here's the thing: it's a soft disagreement. I didn't have proof to back up my statement, and I suspect that Rob doesn't know every single person, right?
I know
in these
everyone.
departments to be able to
no more. No more.
Yeah, right. It's like DOJ speed dial, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, because speed dial's still a thing. So anyway,
I'm calling Dan
But,
B right now. I forgot his last name,
right.
but
Dan
Right.
from the SEC.
Right. Yeah, so just continuing down the line of entertaining conjecture here. I think that I disagree only because I know that like JP Morgan, they talk about like, oh well, we didn't find anything suitable, and Jamie Dimon, all of his famous quotes about being anti-Bitcoin and anti-crypto. Man, he had people internally at JP Morgan that were very, very interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies clear back as far as like 2010, 2011. They had people internally that were evaluating this stuff very early on. Gavin, right, from the Bitcoin core developer group, who was in direct contact. One of the few people alive, by the way, who was in direct contact with Satoshi, Hal Finney, Craig S. Wright, and a bunch of other people. Gavin, he went out of his way to go brief the FBI.
You're talking about
the
Gavin
CIA,
Wood?
frankly. Gavin Wood, yes.
Who is the founder of Polkadot also.
No, I'm so sorry. Not Gavin Wood. I'm thinking, no, not Gavin Wood. Gosh darn it, I am drawing blank here. He was the first follower of Craig S. Wright as Satoshi. I'm so drawing blank. I know chat's going to fill in the blank here, though, right? Because I know the Sin City crypto community is the best.
The best.
I can figure it out. So you guys are gonna fact check me here. Hey, it's just a fact, man. We cover the facts here. But yeah,
I think
Gavin
it's Gavin Anderson.
Andreessen?
I always mess it up
Andreessen,
because
yeah.
it's Andreessen, like Mark Andreessen. Yeah, like
Right.
from Andreessen Horowitz. But Gavin Andreessen, early on, he went and debriefed 3-letter agencies on Bitcoin very early on. So I know that there's been outreach by the part of the Ethereum core developer group. There's been outreach by the Bitcoin core developer group. And then, of course, there's been interest at the highest levels of government and at the highest levels of industry in evaluating these technologies for potential use. I mean, open source makes its way into commercial products all the time. Stupid analogy, but I know that's why you guys invited me on, so I can look stupid, help you look smart, right? But this old technology, 10-finger touch, right? And we don't even think about it now because on our phones, it's like, multi-point touch. It's just what your phone screens do. But before the iPhone and the iPad were like hugely popular, this was harder to do, right? This kind of like multi-point touch. Well, it was open source. There's a guy that did a TED talk about like, look at what I developed, 10-finger touch. So at some point in the future, we're going to develop displays where all you do is touch them. And everyone thought he was crazy. It wasn't that long ago, guys. It was like 15, maybe 17 years ago. Not that long ago. In the grand scheme of things. That open source technology made its way into the iPhone, made its way into commercial products that we now view as seamless. And I know that groups like JP Morgan, when they were looking at, financial rails built on public infrastructure like a blockchain, again, it seems like a very small idea, but it could make its way into much bigger daily driver technologies like our online banking, like everyone claims XRP is going to do with cross-border payments. I don't know. The point is, they have to do the due diligence when it comes to technologies like this. So I reject the notion that governments and industries do not know this tech like the back of their hands. I promise you, somebody in some department somewhere definitely knows it better than any of us here.
On a side note, every time David's in my car, he tries to touch my screen like it's a touch screen, and I keep telling him it's not. It has a little joystick thing. He just keeps tapping it and like, stop tapping my damn screen, man.
Thank you for that, Robin. Really appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
He's been
guys.
he's been spoiled by all of his Teslas. That's what it is.
Amen.
I want a Tesla, man. I really do. Guys, let's move on to our Market Watch. And today's Market Watch is brought to you by channel sponsor, I Trust Capital. If you want to hodl and save some crypto and Bitcoin and enjoy those gains in retirement tax-free, you should set up a Roth IRA account. And there is one company in our space that is a leader, and that is I Trust Capital. If you use the link in our description, you will receive a free $100 once you fund your account, and you do help the channel as well. So big thank you to them. I'm going to throw it over to Robin. Where is Bitcoin at? Where are the markets at? I know we're kind of bleeding off here. Have we stabilized?
Well, I found Bitcoin. It's on the internet. Now here, $26,304. It is down from yesterday's 27.2. So basically we lost $1,000 on Bitcoin. Taking a look at the week, you can see we pretty much lost everything that we gained during the grayscale resolution there, or judgment in favor of grayscale. And I think people were just expecting, in my personal opinion, that the grayscale court case was going to finish. Next thing you know, you got ETF, maybe something along those lines. But kind of actually surprised that we lost it all, man.
Are you?
Right? It
We had this
feels like a
conversation
bad day at the roulette table. You were up 10 grand, and well, you're back
Right.
down to where you started.
Now you went to the ATM machine.
Yeah, we haven't got there yet. But taking a look at the broader crypto markets, we do have Bitcoin down 3%, and the Maker DAO up 11, DYDX up 7, IOTA and Monero, Trust Wallet all rounding out the gainers. A little bit more red in the markets today. So XDC, Pepe, Filecoin, Stacks, Optimism, Polkadot, all down 5%, and then a host of other tokens as well. So not the best day for altcoins, but
What's that fear ingredient next, Rob?
it's at 40.
40.
So I think people still feel confident in the market. I think that we are, even though we lost the gains on Bitcoin with the from this week, I feel like the likelihood of us going back under 25,000, I feel confident we won't.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think?
So I actually have a chart here that I kind of want to share. So this is from TradingView. I got a couple of things I'm looking at here. One thing I was looking at was the 4-hour on Bitcoin. And I just want to note, you guys know I like to keep things simple on the charts, so I don't have a lot of indicators, but I do like to use the Ichimoku cloud. And you can see here just absolutely perfectly wicked into the cloud here, and that acted as pretty good support. But on the 4-hour, we are seeing the cloud start to twist red, which is a net negative, but we are still trading above the cloud, which is still good. If we move out to the weekly, though, what I'm seeing here, which is a reversal signal, is an inverted hammer, right? So you have small body, large upper wick, and this is typically a reversal pattern. And I do want to add, on the weekly, we are still looking in a positive uptrend, right? Cloud is green. You got the conversion line over the baseline, although price is not trading above the cloud, which would kind of round out our bullish narrative here. But again, if this candle closes, and I believe this thing is closing in 3 days and 6 hours. If this candle looks like this, this should be a reversal pattern, and then we should see resistance right at 31,800. But if you can break out of that and then bump and run, make support, man, I think we can get to that 34, 35K range. Seth, what are your thoughts on, Bitcoin pump from 26 to 28K? Let's just use round numbers. Off of the grayscale news, and then it just gave everything back. What do you think that tells you about the psychology of the market? Do you have any thoughts on that? Or is the sentiment still that bad that even news like this just can't sustain a rally?
Yeah, I don't know that it's strictly sentiment, Dave. I think that part of it is a part of it. I mean, we're hitting harsh realities in terms of the markets and in terms of CPI being a blatant lie for the last year plus, right? CPI has not been accurate in terms of what people are feeling with inflation of their funds or debasement of their wages. In particular, wage earners are hit the hardest. But I think that there's part of it that isn't just a sentiment thing. It's an or a narrative thing, and that it can't be controlled or manipulated by narratives. I think that's why we saw that notable Bart Simpson pattern, right, come out the last few days, is because it was this artificial pump based on very, very unexpected news, right? The I guess this news related to the grayscale, but I don't think that's enough to sustain long-term price towards bullishness. I think we haven't actually experienced max pain yet, and I think that there's no amount of manipulation or sentiment or news, right, that can affect sentiment enough to sustain price action, price movement. We genuinely need a bloodletting in multiple markets, and we genuinely need something of a financial reset so that people can return to having reliable disposable income. And most people are just very fearful, and I just don't. I don't know how else to say it. Like, sure, it's a sentiment thing, and it sways towards fear, but I don't think that it is strictly sentiment. I think it comes from a very real, harsh reality of inflation and debasement of the dollar.
Seth, a lot of people, I want to give a shout out to Rick Wilson, brought up liquidity. That is 100% correct. Liquidity is pretty dry in our space right now. And so if liquidity was robust, you had a lot of buy orders, sell orders, a lot of bids and asks, we could potentially have seen maybe instead of giving it all back, maybe giving a quarter of it back or whatever the case may be. Also, there's a lot of people are saying we're not going to see new all-time highs. We're not going to see bullish change in Bitcoin until we see the money printers get turned back on. Obviously, we saw what happened during the pandemic. Money printers on, people got stimulus checks. Bitcoin absolutely rallied. So we'll wait and see, but we know macro has still yet, the stock market is still, on the way to making all-time highs. We know what's going on with inflation, with CPI. It seems like we're ticking back up. Things are continuing to get more expensive, and the job market is starting to get a little looser. So what will the Fed do? We'll keep an eye on that. I want to ask you real quick, Seth, because Robin, when he was going over the market cap, Pepe was down. So, there's like a rug pull. We know apparently they changed the multi-sig, right? Went from 5 signatures to 2. Some saying some developers stole any coins. Do you have any insight on that whole situation?
I wish I did. I wish I did. I think I've told you my sob story about being in Times Square when somebody gave me the anonymous tip of getting in on Pepe 4 days before the public launch.
Damn.
So no, I wish I had that level of insight again into this current situation related to Pepe. I don't, man. That was a fluke the first time, and one that I very much regret not acting on.
We all have a couple of regrets, not just in crypto, but in our... Anyways.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the biggest news of the day. So Coinbase...
Big Rob got bigger?
No. Coinbase partners with PayPal. This is from cryptobriefing.com. Coinbase PayPal partnership simplifies crypto buying in Germany and the UK. I'm going to read a couple things that I've highlighted here, guys. This week, Coinbase announced that it had integrated with global payments giant PayPal for users in Germany and the United Kingdom. This collaboration aims to simplify the process of buying and withdrawing cryptocurrency for individuals in those regions. Coinbase plans to expand the ability to purchase and withdraw crypto using PayPal to other EU countries. By partnering with PayPal, transactions are faster, allowing instant withdrawals of Coinbase balances directly to PayPal accounts. This is a quote from Daniel Seifert, who is the VP of Coinbase in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. He said, quote, Coinbase's mission of increasing economic freedom in the world means making it easier, safer, and faster for customers to interact and engage with the crypto economy, reducing the frictions of the legacy banking system. We're therefore very pleased to be partnering with PayPal to be able to offer our German and UK users another fast, secure, and convenient way to buy crypto. Also said that they can now rely on PayPal to protect their financial data instead of manually connecting their bank accounts. Rob, I'm going to ask you first. It seems like PayPal is really diving into the crypto space. We know they have their largest fintech company in the world with over 500 million users. What are your thoughts on this partnership? Is Coinbase are they going to be the largest and most trusted crypto exchange globally now that they are starting to expand?
There's a void to be filled, right? There's a void to be filled with Binance. Also, don't forget FTX, Voyager. So we had a cleansing of the exchanges on the backside of the last bull market, and nobody's really stepped up to fill the void. I mean, Coinbase seems to be the one that's making the most movement. I think the SEC has forced them to expand operations outside of the U.S. borders. I'm sure they were going to anyways, but they've for sure expedited the whole process. I mean, they had to, right? if you're running a business and your entire business model runs in the jurisdiction of the United States, and the United States is actively trying to put a stranglehold on your business, it just makes it logical. Like, hey, man, I got people that are relying on us to be successful to pay, buy groceries, pay the, keep the lights on, pay the mortgage. And if the SEC were to sue us, which they did, and were to halt operations, essentially the business would go under, and so would all of the employees that are reliant on that company surviving. And so with that said, it's a no-brainer. They're going to move offshore. And hey, you gotta get the liquidity going, right? You got to get the on and off ramps working. And PayPal might not be that strong here in the United States. It might not be as used as a platform as it is globally. PayPal is massive, especially in Europe. And I think that's why you're seeing PayPal being used in was it Germany and UK, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
with plans to expand to other EU countries.
And then just you also, not to get too far off subject here, but you have X, or formerly known as Twitter, going to do video and audio calls on the platform. We know that they're going to start offering trading services. So what we're seeing is an expansion of services outside of what has been done traditionally. So PayPal, yes, they've sent money back and forth from one user to the other, or as a means of payments to small businesses or even large businesses. But I think you're going to start seeing that PayPal, for example, will start partnering with exchanges to offer banking services, because that's essentially what it's replacing, right?
Yeah.
And so, hey, you want to cut off the liquidity stream or the on and off ramps for the exchanges via the banks? You know what? We got PayPal. We'll use them. Thank you. So.
What are your thoughts, Seth? Kind of same question. And I do want to note also, Coinbase just listed PayPal stablecoin on their platform, PYUSD. I guess same question to you with this Coinbase and PayPal, them essentially diving in head first. What are your thoughts on Coinbase expanding? And what are your thoughts on this partnership in general?
Yeah, so I think that there are a couple of takeaways from this. The first one is that privacy is always under constant threat, so we always have to be under constant vigilance. We have to be on constant vigilance with regards to what we want to disclose and what we don't want to disclose. Partnerships like this really limit our options in term as consumers as far as what we can choose to selectively disclose. PayPal and Coinbase have both, in their public statement, they made it very clear. The direct quote, I believe, is that they specifically want to share surveillance data. They just come out and said it. They just come out and flat out said it, that they intend to share surveillance data from one institution to the other to make sure that any PayPal accounts can be positively correlated to any Coinbase accounts, which, of course, they are known to cooperate with Chainalysis, Blockchain Intelligence Group, and other Arkham Intelligence and other lesser competitors that do doxing, right? Essentially doxing and do profiling on chain as a service, not just for law enforcement, but for anybody who feels like paying them, right? Private investigation or whatever. They're not going to ask who you are. They can do this for evil organizations too, as long as they're paid. They don't have any kind of a canary file to prove that Chainalysis and other groups like that are working for the good guys. Think about that. But Coinbase and PayPal are now going to join the pantheon of groups that intend to surveil your blockchain-related purchases. That for me is a big hang-up, Dave. When you bring up this partnership and the ramifications, I know that it might be net bullish in terms of adoption, people just getting exposure to this asset class, but I'm very hung up on the privacy implications. To be honest, it's
so do you have a solution
it's
to
front
that?
and
Then?
center in my mind.
So then, do you have a solution to that, Seth? Because we know they aggregate our data, they take our information, it's everywhere. Netflix, the apps you use, the apps on your phone. So, to me, and you're more well-versed in the whole privacy thing than I am. For me, it's like almost unavoidable. Or am I completely wrong?
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. If you want to live a sort of like convenience-filled life, which frankly, modern life is very convenient. A lot of what we've become accustomed to is convenience everywhere. So if you want to enjoy any of the convenience of, say, like using cloud documents, And I remember when Google Documents was in early beta, I was an early tester and got grandfathered into some exclusive internal programs. So like this is me speaking out of both sides of my face. There's a lot of convenience offered by the likes of Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, even Microsoft, right? They do their part in making life more convenient. So if you want to live that life of convenience, then Dave, you're not wrong. There really is a huge compromise. You can't avoid being surveilled. You have no privacy if you use all of these services without modification, right? And give them unlimited access to your personal, private information, right? Or your personally identifying information. The way that you can reclaim some of your privacy, at least as it comes to using some of those technologies, is to start segmenting. For example, I don't use Google Chrome. Yeah, I use Gmail, but I don't use Google Chrome. And if I did use Google Chrome or anything like it, I wouldn't allow my browser to remember all of my passwords. I use a third-party tool for that and service for that, which I can self-host and is open source. That at least lets me know that if there's a data breach at Google or at Apple or somewhere else, then all of my passwords are not part of that mass data breach, if that makes sense, because that erodes my privacy. Now, bringing it back to blockchain, there are some steps we can take, but they take away some of that convenience, right? That's the thing. If you always take the most convenient option, it's a little bit like diet, right? Like you can eat a gourmet diet and be perfectly fit. What you can't do is eat convenience foods like Twinkies and fast food every single meal and stay fit, right? Like there are these choices that we make that that by opening one door, we of a necessity have to close another one. And that privacy door, we can keep it open at least a little bit by making some of these other less convenient choices. So one of them would be using MetaMask with an alternate RPC, using third-party tools like Wallet Guard or like Revoke.cash, just little stuff like that. But yeah,
you brought up really good points, and you made a really good analogy with diet. I just think people are so in love with convenience that they don't even take the time to know what the hell they're giving up for that convenience, and it's a sad reality, in my opinion.
They fall victim to marketing, right? It's like, oh,
essentially, yeah.
I drank a Diet Coke, so now my double Whopper is good to go.
Canceled out. Life's about balance, you know? I do want to give a shout out to Alex81SG, who gave a $2 super chat, said monthly close today, very bearish. I did take a look at that. That was
also, big shout out to all the new viewers. If you are new here, say hello so we can drop the hola back at you. We got Dusty Square Designs, Crypto Golfer, ICP Alpha, West 632. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. And we're just shy of the
How did we get up to
200
that many likes so fast?
Yeah. So,
big shout out to you guys, man.
Yeah, when we get to 200 likes, we'll open up the club. Have you ever been here, Seth, when we open up the club?
Yeah, when he had his shirt off. Remember?
Yeah, that is true, though.
My boy Jack.
I think it's potentially it could be true. Some say it's a rumor, but it could be true that I have a lifetime VIP membership to the club.
If 100%, if you had a DCA today, you got Bitcoin, Ethereum, or like button. Which one are you going with?
I mean, bro, that's the thing about DCA. Why choose when you can have all three?
There you go.
That's a smart man.
Spread your buys out, guys.
Spread it out, guys. Spread it out. All right, I want to move on to this piece of interesting news, and I'm curious to get you guys' take on this. So, Chainlink, one of the projects I have been ramping up my DCA into, shines in this groundbreaking Swift experiment, and Swift in reference to the messaging system in the traditional financial rails. This is from You Today. So, Chainlink was one of the key subjects of the latest tokenization experiment carried out by popular financial messaging giant Swift. Swift said it utilized Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol, also known as CCIP, to secure the interoperability of the networks involved in the tokenization trial. Swift also said it used the protocol's Oracle solution as an abstraction layer to securely connect the Swift network to the Ethereum Sepolia network. The experiment showcased that the current Swift infrastructure is viable enough to connect its partner financial institutions to multiple blockchain protocols that might be relevant to their asset tokenization efforts. This part says, big win for Chainlink. The utilization of the Chainlink protocol and its innovation, the CCIP, is a testament that the Oracle provider is now playing a more vital role in the blockchain ecosystem beyond just being a data abstraction protocol. The upside for Link, which is a native token, is very high, as multiple banks with millions of clients around the world place a high demand on the token for its usefulness in the Swift-backed tokenization world. Guys,
Crazy, man.
right? And the next thing I had was this article here as TradFi tries to hop in. We're going to go over that in a second, but let's start here. I guess I'll ask you first, Rob. What are your thoughts on this? To me, when I read this definitely made me more bullish on Chainlink.
So they're using Chainlink's blockchain to
CCIP.
the CCIP to send transactions.
To connect to other blockchains and protocols and
Have you thought of the fact that, we've always said, hey, something's going to replace Swift system. We've talked about the Fed now. We talked about this blockchain versus that one. I never really considered the fact that maybe the Swift system will just upgrade, right? They'll just incorporate blockchain or they'll incorporate faster payment solutions. And we always assume that it's all or nothing, but perhaps they start using FedNow here domestically. Perhaps they start using Chainlink to facilitate certain transactions. Or microtransactions would be a good one as well, because we know the Swift system is pretty taxing on the fees or how much it costs to use. So could we see a scenario where crypto is adopted by the Swift system and and it essentially upgrades it? I think that's more and more a realization. I think that all or nothing mentality is probably not the right way of going about the thesis on crypto adoption. I think it's more of an crypto integration, and it's something that this article kind of refreshes my thoughts on.
What are your thoughts, Seth?
I'm not gonna lie. Your chat completely drew me in. They completely distracted me. I blame Jimmy W.
All right, let me give you a synopsis here. So, Swift is integrating with Chainlink, their CCIP, their cross-chain interoperability protocol, to be able to upgrade their system and now be able to exchange messaging with the likes of Ethereum and anyone else that is in that interoperability kind of umbrella with Chainlink. So what they're saying is this is a big win for Chainlink because they're not anymore just an oracle that provides information, but they're also the upside is high as multiple banks with millions of clients around the world place a high demand on the token for its usefulness in the Swift-backed tokenization world. So they're jumping into tokenizing in the traditional world. What are your thoughts there? The whole Swift system. Rob mentioned, hey, instead of replacing it with something like FedNow, upgrading it. Maybe share your thoughts on kind of all the above.
Yeah, government has a bad history of upgrading technologies, and I think that the fact that the COBOL programming language still exists is proof.
What was it?
Right?
What programming language?
It's called COBOL. I want because obviously the Sin City crypto community is the best. I want whoever in your audience is a programmer to back me up on this. Is COBOL a programming language? First off, what is it used for? How much are people paid who know this language? Is it still relevant technologically? The government pays, let me just lay this out in reverse order. The government pays inordinate amounts of money to developers who understand this programming language to keep core financial infrastructure in our country, in particular entitlement programs on the Eastern Seaboard, and in California too, but along the Eastern Seaboard. If you want to make a tremendous living as a programmer, learn COBOL and go and maintain some of these legacy systems where the financial systems and their mainframe computers have been running with flawless operation and perfect uptime for the better part of like 20, 30 years. Or longer in some cases. So now the US government has a terrible history when it comes to trying to upgrade technology as opposed to just slashing and burning. They've got a much better track record with just slashing and burning and then starting from scratch. So while I would normally agree with everything that Robin just said by way of just like trying to upgrade, I think in the case of it being federal, any kind of technology that the federal government needs to interact with, like I don't want them trying.
Does Cardano use COBOL? Because
ooh, no comment. But the Swift system, what I'll say also, having it connect to Chainlink, I view this as kind of a net negative. I really do. I view it as
Charles clips out this thing, we like it. We know it uses Haskell. Calm down, Charles. Thank you.
Damn, bro. We're trying to get him on the show actively. You're over here crapping on Cardano, man. Not a good look, bro.
Yeah, hey,
All right.
I maintain my neutrality. No comment still
Fair enough.
about that.
This is
yeah,
this
that's
is a perfect segue to the next article I have, because we take a look at what blockchain and crypto, what it can do, what industries it can disrupt. And here's one that a lot of the traditional markets, the traditional companies, the banks, the likes of Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley talk about is tokenizing real world assets. And anytime you see the letters RWA, they stand for real world assets. And I have this piece of this article here from Blockworks. TradFi and DeFi convergence continues through tokenizing real-world assets. Tokenized real-world assets are primed to extend beyond a mere technological trend, according to a new report focused on the growing segment. The sector has grown in recent years as projects and companies have sought to bring physical and financial assets from debt securities, government debt, to real estate properties on-chain via blockchains. This is a quote from... who's this quote for? Chaos Labs. So the power of blockchain-driven digitalization is evident in the potential to unlock otherwise illiquid assets, streamline operation, reduce costs, and reshape financial intermediation. Tokenized bonds have seen increased traction in recent months as various projects have sought to offer access to U.S. Treasury securities. We are still very early, but the end goal is simple: to migrate finance onto crypto rails. Larry Fink, and this section talks about institutional involvement. Larry Fink, which of course is the CEO of BlackRock, said last year that the tokenization of securities is the next generation for markets. You have other financial giants, like I mentioned, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and then this one, JP Morgan's Onyx Digital Assets Network, enables the tokenization of traditional assets such as U.S. Treasuries and money market products, and they had used Polygon back in November of 2022. And then finally here, marketplaces and platforms where real-world assets can be securely and easily traded will be key as the market grows. One such platform, named Tangible, converts real-world assets into NFTs that can be redeemed for the physical product. One thing that could stifle the growth is paradoxically a bull market in crypto, as then yields and use cases from the real-world assets will be outweighed by other opportunities, including DeFi. So a lot to unpack there, and I'm going to start with Seth here first. Is this a sector or a utility case that you're really maybe honing in on or looking into as a big part of the next bull market? And if so, are there any projects that you kind of have your eye on that are really at the forefront of this?
Yes and yes, but before I say any more, I'm actually legally required to disclose. I am a principal at Emerging Assets Group, and I help to operate Block47.io, where we're tokenizing luxury goods from the Diamond District of New York. So everything that follows is not financial advice, but you just need to be aware that I have bias, right? So
appreciate that, man.
So an affiliation there. Yeah, no problem, man. That's there's only one way to play the game, right?
Amen.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Yes, I have strong faith in this sector. I hope that the fact that I've gone out of my way to disclose my involvement, a company that's actively focused on this, is enough evidence that yes, I'm convinced that real world assets do have a use case in crypto and that they do have a bright future. But do I think it's going to be a key part of the next bull market? I'm not sure. It could do one of a couple things in terms of being instrumental for the next bull market. One is injecting liquidity on chain while we're in the midst of a bear market. And I love the quote that you brought up about how bull markets, they're going to bring less interest and probably less investor focus, right? And have some capital flight out of real world assets when you see that there's, the next 100x or 1000x happening in DeFi. Right? We've seen the APYs of DeFi Summer 1 and 2, and now whatever the next iteration of DeFi Summer 3 or 4 is, there's definitely going to be those outlier 1000x or 10,000x projects that get everybody's attention. And rightfully, if you're a stone cold capitalist, why would you settle for the boring yield of one asset class when you could hone in on DeFi and do 1000x? Right? Doesn't make sense rationally. So I don't blame anybody for thinking that way. But real world assets might help us inject more fresh liquidity into crypto during the bear market so that when we're ready to run, we've got, that added zero to the crypto market cap at the knee of the adoption curve, or the knee of the next run up before we go hyperbolic. I think that's where it might really be instrumental, and that then going back into a retracement, right, into the future bear market that inevitably will come after the next bull market, we might see a much higher low because of real world assets. That's where I think we're going to see it play out in the long run.
I think you bring up a really good point. For me, it's like it brings liquidity on chain. And once that money is on chain, if it's interoperable, just like a portfolio, right? You go in there once a year and you say, okay, I want to be a little more conservative this year. All right, so let's, instead of going 70-30, risk on versus risk off, let's go 60-40. Do the same thing. See a bull market coming, and now that money, that liquidity is on chain. Bull market's almost here, guys. Let's move away from these treasuries and the gold securities, whatever the case may be, into the likes of Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, whatever, insert name here, and then the vice versa. Those are my thoughts. Robin, what are your thoughts?
I think that tokenizing real world assets is something that the world is going to use. Maybe it won't have such a strong footprint here in the United States, but especially in third world nations, war-torn countries, or places that have governments that you don't trust. Not to say that there's any really trustable governments, but ones that are really corrupt. You might find yourself having your real world asset be destroyed, manipulated, taken from you. We see that there's no shortage of seizures of property. Hey, you don't pay your taxes? Hey, we'll take your house. Well, hey, you know what? If it's on the Ethereum blockchain, for example, well, good luck taking it. Not to say that they won't figure out a way to do it, but, at least, that's where the ownership of your deed to your house or your car title or whatever other real world asset is located. And, outside of the government, most of these documents are stored by institutions, by a third party. And, what if there's a data breach, or what if there's a, like I said, a war, and you have to you're displaced, and you come back and, hey, your deed to your house, can't find it. And the company that held it is no longer. Like, how are you supposed to explain that you own that house, especially if you've been gone for 2 years as a refugee? So I think that this is a solution to real world problems because of its immutable nature. And maybe we won't need that services here in the United States, and maybe the institutions that hold deeds and car titles will be fine here, but it's not the same elsewhere. And so if there's a need, there's a value. And with that value, it's tied to the blockchains that it's used on. So something I'll be keeping an eye on.
Yeah. And I think we all, especially here in the U.S., we kind of live in a bubble, right? U.S. are the largest capital markets. All the money flows in here. The U.S. dollar is the world reserve currency. We got to remember, guys, it's not just in the U.S. Crypto is borderless. So is blockchain. And so we got to think of, maybe it doesn't affect us as much in the U.S., but definitely can help overseas. One thing I'm keeping my eye on is, like the article mentioned, a platform where these real world assets can be interchanged, traded, bought, and sold. That is what I'm going to be keeping an eye on. It'll be interesting to see what layer one they're built on. Of course, you're going to assume Ethereum has the most liquidity, the largest, the most time-tested and true. But who knows? But it's something to definitely keep an eye on. It is going to be a growing narrative moving into the next bull market. So that is something I'll be keeping my eye on. Mind your biz. Everyone loves you in here, man. We love having you on. We only slated you for
like it's a surprise.
No. I'm just saying, I'm looking at the chat.
This normally doesn't happen here.
No, I'm not saying it normally doesn't happen.
Contradicts my opinion.
Listen, the chat is
you
more
love that.
vocal
He's like,
about.
despite what your wife says, you're an okay guy. Yeah.
The chat is more vocal with certain guests, and they're very vocal with you in a positive way. So I want to point that out. So thank you. And we're only supposed to keep you on for like 20 minutes, but we kept you on for almost an hour. So we appreciate your time. Since we've kept you this long, it's only right that we keep you through. Robin, what are we keeping?
Oh, yeah, we got to open the club up. All right, so
223 likes, man. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah, when we get new milestones, numbers that we haven't hit before, we like to celebrate. And so it's been a while since we crossed the 200 threshold on the like button. So we're going to celebrate, and we're going to do what Vegas does best and party, have
drugs.
No.
What? Hey, if they're legal, what do you call them?
All right. All right.
If I would have
All
said
right,
pepperoni, Rocco would have
Open the damn club. Let's go.
opened the club, Rocco. Not this Italian club, man.
What happened to our confetti, bro?
The dice. Throw the dice.
You doing the dice move, bro?
Don't worry about what I'm
You
doing.
doing the dice move?
Listen, me and Seth are sitting. You have an advantage because you're standing. You have
And-
more room.
and I got a
more,
hammer.
And you got a hammer. You got props. I don't want to hear it, bro. Don't shit on my dance moves. Anyways, Seth, if people want more MYB, where can they geo?
The best place to find me is at mineyour.biz. So mine, as in what's mine is mine. What's yours is yours. Mineyour.biz for all the crazy Canucks.
Crazy Canuckies. Also, guys, do yourselves a favor, man. Go follow Seth on Twitter/X at mineyour_biz. Go follow him. We love having you on the show, man. You know, it was a while we didn't have you on, but we want to have you on more. We really enjoy your insight. You're a good dude. You're funny. You got a sense of humor, and our community loves you, and we also love you.
There's
Robin doesn't
also-
love anyone but his bird, but
That's right.
me and
Also,
Rocco.
you got I'm going on a Minor Business channel.
you are.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So-
Very nice.
So keep
Yeah,
an eye out
I'm
for that.
surprised
Learn
you
all
picked
about
Robin
this.
over me. Seth, what's up, bro?
Dude, I'm surprised you didn't schedule yourself on my calendar link, which I sent to both of you.
You sent to both of us?
I
Robin
signed up.
never
I
ju-
signed
Robin
up
never
the
even
second
reads
I
the
got it.
emails, bro. Robin never even reads the emails, so I'm very, very surprised. No, all jokes aside, man. You're a great guy for our space. We appreciate having you on. Thank you so much for your time and knowledge, and we look forward to bringing you on again, brother. You have a great day.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure, man.
Take care, bro. All right, guys. One more shout out to channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business grow, visit bluewiretech.com or click the link in the description of this video. Go follow us on Twitter, you guys. We're at Sin City Crypto 1. We're currently running a $100 Bitcoin giveaway to whoever correctly guesses the end of day candle close on Bitcoin's price when the spot ETF gets approved. We will be giving out $100 in free Bitcoin. All you got to do is follow us on Twitter, put in your vote, and also retweet or repost the post we put up. Also, guys, go visit our merch store, inandoutcrypto.com.
And
If you
shout out to Lando and Black Knight, and also Crypto Tick and one other person in here. Somebody said, yeah,
somebody said, okay.
yeah. I don't think they liked. Oh, Will H. He said, I think right when we opened the club. I think he was confused.
Yeah, it's okay, man.
Hola,
Rocco, how do you feel about Robin rug pulling the merch shout out?
It's all right.
That's okay? You sure? Because if you sure, okay, fine.
Just gonna put it back.
There it is.
Guys, if you're a well member, you do get 10% off. Also, visit NFT XLV if you want to come and hang out with us at the NFT XLV conference, formerly known as CNFT. If you go check out and put in code OLA, OLA, you will receive a discount. And we look forward to seeing all of you there. With that being said, Rocco. Guys, thank you so much for an amazing show. Big thank you to Seth for Mind Your Biz. Come back tomorrow for Forest Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On behalf of all of us here at Sin City Crypto, we love you guys. Till tomorrow. Peace.
Crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.